Welcome to the Pharsyde channel. This is our series of business owner interviews where I talk to different business owners about the challenges that they have faced in building their businesses. Today, I have the wonderful Michelle Macfarlane of Dragon Consulting. Michelle is a very experienced marketer, and I am looking forward to hearing about the challenges she faced in building her business. Michelle, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Tamryn. Good to see you as always.
Thank you. I have to start the question with why dragon?
Okay. Since a young kid and my first visit to the UK with my parents, I've been crazy about medieval history and also loving, obviously, fantasy with dragons. But not so much as in the typical UK slaying of dragons, but more the Eastern philosophy of what dragons stand for. So apart from being a childhood obsession that's grown into something I absolutely love, dragons in Eastern philosophy actually are perfect for entrepreneurs. It's all focusing on overcoming adversity, rising above difficulties. And so it's a really powerful, positive spin on things rather than the dragon being the problem. My husband will tell you it's called Dragon Consulting because I'm a dragon, but yeah, so that's not really why we called it dragon. I absolutely just love dragons.
That's awesome. I love that. I'm also quite a fantasy fan, so dragons for me are a good thing too. So I think it's great. And how long have you been running your own business now, Michelle?
Well, this is not my first foray into business. I did an accounting and tax practice way back when my kids were little. But Dragon Consulting is now 4.5 years old. We've been going 4.5 years. I ran it for a couple of years on my own. COVID actually launched our business crazily. It got my husband home. All the execs sent home, no work, no pay for a year. So he joined me, started studying, doing other things that he was doing, and always been a crazy programmer into the tech side of stuff. So has a huge lot of experience to bring and does stuff that I don't enjoy at all. So we started that partnership and we've grown it to 9 people in a fully fledged agency during lockdown. So yeah, 4.5 years from just me with no clients to 9 of us in the team and a really fully fledged business.
That is such an exciting trajectory. You must be really proud of yourself and your team.
Yeah, we've worked really hard to get it all together, finding the right people to join, a lot of familiar faces in the team and some very new faces in the team. But the important thing was we actually took something which made life very difficult for others. And suddenly people realized they were invisible because they were stuck at home and couldn't run around knocking on doors. And for us in the marketing side, specifically the digital marketing space, it kind of just launched the business from going along nicely to really, really exploding. And we've been able to add on a lot of extra services. And I'm not sure that my other half would have had the guts to chuck up his corporate job had he not had to. And we just realized that in 2 years of working in one room together, we could work really well together, grow something really good. We always started on a digitally nomadic sale or business way we want to do business, and everything was paperless and online. All our clients, even when we were in Johannesburg, were never face-to-face, always on Zoom, so we could work from anywhere in the world. And we relocated to St. Francis Bay down in the Eastern Cape in March, which is one of our stepping stones along the way to being able to travel and work, which has been really great. And it didn't upset the clients, it didn't upset the business, it didn't do anything. So it's been really, really good sticking to that paperless online business model all the time. It's difficult because people weren't so sure about how you're actually going to do business if I can't physically meet you, but it hasn't been difficulty building relationships at all.
That's wonderful, isn't it? I find that's something, because I built Pharsyde as a remote working business as well back in the day. I actually started purely to save money. I couldn't afford to pay a rental on a proper office, and being an accountancy firm, you need good premises. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go with no premises. And it's hard to convince people that you can help them if you don't have this physical office that they can just pop into. And that's something I found 2020 was good for, is helping
Very much
people
so.
recognize that being online is actually just as good as meeting face to face. And not to take away from meeting face to face, it's great. And I do when I can. I definitely go and see my clients, but now it's for a cup of coffee and it's to get to know them and to chat,
Yes,
which is so
exactly.
much nicer. And if we got to discuss work, we do it via Zoom, and it works
Exactly.
brilliantly.
No, it works incredibly well, and I think the fact that you can juggle time zones, you can juggle distance. We've had clients all the way from Vancouver right across to Melbourne, so it takes a little bit of juggling and arranging of things. I think one of the things people need to be mindful of is that you tend to overcram your days when you're working remotely, because where before you would have had a chance to sit in the car and kind of decompress and focus and prepare and listen to music and see what's going on, you kind of just blam those back to back. And one of the biggest challenges we've had moving to the coast is not being in the position where we're still working 18, 20-hour days and we now just have a better view, because it was pointless. You know, that whole increasing your quality of life and finding balance, it needs to be done. I find my biggest difficulty having left corporate, even though I was self-employed for a very long time when my kids were small, is the guilt of taking time out during the day to do something you want to do. You still feel like you should be behind your desk working. You're still delivering, all your clients are happy, all your deadlines are met, nothing's behind time, but you still feel that kind of, I should actually be working. And I think that's probably still going to take a while to get out of my system.
You know, it's funny, I read a post this morning on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Anyone who's talked to me enough will know that I live on LinkedIn. And I read a post this morning about the fallacy of work-life balance and this idea of keeping work and personal separate and balancing the two.
Can't be done.
And yeah, and this guy was saying it's ridiculous. You work for a third of your life. You spend a third of your life working, so you cannot pretend that it's not part of your life. You don't have work and life. You have a life that involves work, and it's not even personal in work, because you're you when you're at work. I'm me, so I'm going to behave like me. Yes, I might have a more professional persona, but my values haven't changed, and my character hasn't changed. My beliefs haven't changed. So it is personal. And he said you should really make a distinction between private and work, private and professional. So yes, there are boundaries where I'm not going to let the people in my professional life cross over into my private life, but all of it is my life. All of it is me, you know, and it's hard to get your head wrapped around the fact that it's okay to have both, and it's okay for them to intertwine, as long as you're not hurting yourself or other people or letting people down. So yeah,
I think the core thing of that is, and I think you'll agree with me, is because you love what you do and you have so much fun doing what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So you'll sit down and you'll dive into a project that you absolutely been looking forward to and all of that, and it just ends up, you just keep on going because you're having fun, not because you've got a deadline to meet and it has to be done. You know, it's just, but having the discipline to step away from your desk and go, okay, let's go for a walk, let's go do this, let's, do all those things. One thing that has been great with moving down here is my parents are in their 70s are down here. And I've got a kayak, and now actually like making conscious time to go get my dad at 78 to come with me and go paddling. And when we were paddling this last Thursday afternoon, took a couple of hours and we went paddling because the weather was good. And you actually realize that's time you'll never get back, but you can always work and catch up with other stuff. So if you work a couple of hours in the evening, that's absolutely fine, but spending time with my dad is priceless. So that's kind of the important thing. So you start to weigh up, what are you giving up by another hour behind your desk that you could actually do when the sun goes down? You're not letting anybody down, as you say. So if you keep up to speed and you're organized, there's nothing that should stop you from going and doing what you want to do if you have the opportunity to do it.
yeah, exactly. I love that. I love the fact that you're getting that time to spend with people. As we forget as business owners that, like you say, the work can be done another time. That time with people, you can't get it
it's
back.
priceless. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I think is important. Very important.
What have you found to be your biggest challenge while building this business of yours?
I think the biggest challenge has been probably finding the right people that you want to work with and take through, and people that you can trust with your life. You know, you really don't want to have to delegate something and then sit and be concerned. And I'm not a micromanager. I detest being micromanaged, so therefore I don't micromanage other people. It's just hand stuff over and trust that it's going to be done. And finding people that share your values, that's been really, really important, with critical to growing the team, and also finding out what are the kinds of skills that our clients need, where we could actually get someone on board that we trust, that we can offer like a full package. And it's got nothing to do with keeping the competition out or anything like that. It's just taking better care of your customers, because when you are doing certain work for them, we know we've got someone who can do it, that we can trust, and the quality will be good, and that they share our values. There's too many fly-by-nights in the marketing space, unfortunately. There's, I'm not saying, and marketing is one of those professions where experience absolutely counts more than anything you could possibly learn in formal education. I did accounting, auditing, and tax at varsity. I didn't do marketing. I went and did a brand management course at Vega for a year, about 4 or 5 years ago, which is really cool to get up to date and up speed things. But it's all about understanding and knowing people. But there's a huge amount of people that think posting on social media is marketing, and they don't actually understand the whole psychology that goes behind marketing someone's business. And I think that's the critical part, which is kind of my soapbox. So there's no quick fix, there's no silver bullet, there's no package, there's no set way of doing things, there's no cookie cutter approach to marketing. It just doesn't work that way. People will argue with me, I know, but to my mind, the biggest challenge has been getting a really good team together, and we've done that. We have an absolutely amazing team. We've had so much fun. They know how to have fun. You can joke with them, but they deliver. And the quality of the work is really, really good, which is important.
That is amazing. That is really, really, that is a very core part of building a business, is your people.
Yeah. Yes.
I'd love to know, having the background in accounting, do you think that helped you with the other side of business building, which is the more administrative part? Because, you know, a lot of people are good at what they do. So you're good at marketing, but you've got to have all this stuff in the background. And some people don't even know you're supposed to have all that stuff in the background. But I know with me, I built an accounting firm as well. And because of what accounting is, and it's, you know, it's the language of business, and it's so linked to every part of a business. When you're working in accounting, you're very aware of the fact that a business is a much bigger thing than the service it's offering. Do you think that helped you in building your own business and being able?
Absolutely. To this day, I can tell you that the 3 years I spent doing my articles taught me more than I've learned in the other 20 odd years that I've been working. I've learned other stuff along the way, but understanding the intricacies of how things work together, and you'll know, being an accountant, the difficult thing with people nowadays is, yes, they can capture stuff into an accounting program, but it's very much, they're only seeing one side of it. So when things go wrong, they don't know where the other half went. They don't know where to start looking for it. They don't understand how everything actually connects. And you know, I think even from a marketing perspective, someone can come to you and say, we're having a problem, our marketing sucks. And you have a look at the financials and you go, actually, I don't think this is a marketing problem. I think this is a collections problem, or your debtors days suck, and that's why your cash flow is a problem. And you can have a closer look and have a better understanding. I always say to my clients right at the get-go, if you don't want us in your stuff, we're not the marketers for you, because we really behave like we're a partner in the business. We know all that's going on that's actually going to be affecting your business, because otherwise we can't make the right kind of decisions. You know, you can sell someone a horse and all they need is a pony. You know, you need to actually be able to understand business a lot better. The other advantage is we were actually adding up all the years of experience. We have over a century of experience in our team, and we said it's not because most of us are old, because I can promise you 5 of us in the team are youngsters in their 20s. The other 4 of us are much older, but we all come from different perspectives, different industries, and you can pick up the phone and bounce something off people. But absolutely, I would say my articles and auditing and understanding the intricacies and relationships between the different sides of the business, and being, I've worked in a manufacturing company for 10 years. So you learn all that side of the manufacturing, and working in retail, understanding logistics, but having the manufacturing background, that you understand it's not a question of, I want to put these tiles on a promotion in 2 months' time. It's how long does it take to manufacture, and what's the ordering process, and how long does it take to get the stock to the stores. And I definitely think there's way more to being a marketer than making campaigns. You really need to understand how the business works, because you have to be practical. And you can come up with these amazing, creative, awesome ideas, but if they're not practically implementable, then it doesn't help. You know, you're creating something a client aspires to, and in reality they could never get to it, and that creates disappointment and resentment, and kind of, I don't know, they just feel sad that they could be doing so much better, but they can't. So you rather do the best you absolutely can do. But getting to know your customers and what makes them tick is kind of the important thing. So I think the biggest part of being a marketer is not being creative. It's not understanding competition. It's not even accounting. It's being a good people person. And I'm not a superficial good people person. You need to genuinely ask questions to get to know your client, so that you can literally take over their LinkedIn profile for 2 months and nobody would be any the wiser. That's how well you need to know your clients. You would know how they would react to something, what they would post, what they wouldn't post, what they believe in, what they don't believe in. And I think that's really the important thing. And if my clients know their customers that well, it's having a conversation and solving their problems. It's not marketing. It's everybody can do that. And marketing's supposed to be the fun part of your business. It shouldn't be the one that makes you stay up at night.
Yeah, absolutely. It shouldn't. Yeah, that's what taxes are for, isn't it?
Exactly.
But I love what you're saying about it's about people, because I think that's something it gets forgotten a lot in business, is that all of business, it doesn't actually matter if it's accounting or marketing or sales or manufacturing. Business is about people. You know, there's whether it's an employee or a supplier or a customer or a business owner or the tax man, it's people. And if you remember that, and you react to people like they're human beings with feelings and hopes and goals and values and beliefs and opinions, you're going to build a better business.
That's the critical part. And that's why when people say, oh, you do B2B marketing, I'm going, there is no such thing as B2B marketing. It's person to person. Even if you are selling what you sell, goods or services, to a business, there's a person who's making that buying decision, or there's a person that has a role in that buying process. You need to understand, and you need to empower them to make the right decisions. And you also need to be ethical and honest enough to say, we're actually not for you, and this isn't what you need. And I think that's when you, I wouldn't say fire clients, but when you tell clients, actually, you don't need us, this is what you need, they kind of look back at you like, why don't you want to work with us? And I'm going, it's not a question of you don't need to work with us. Like, you have clients that are really struggling to get their business going, but what they actually need is a life coach, because we can't help you build a business if you can't get out of bed in the morning. You know, and go to
or that
this,
actually
and give me a shout.
they product is this, I've seen this a lot. The product is fine, the marketing is fine, it's got a good sales team, but actually their systems, their internal systems are a mess. So they land a client and they don't deliver properly because of internal inefficiencies, so they lose a client.
You have to understand, we even had another client recently, which is an international software engineering company, and their biggest difficulty actually we established was internal marketing. They couldn't attract enough top talent that if we went out and their marketing was a success, they couldn't deliver the product. So you need to make sure, like, we can go, if this works, are you ready for it? And they go, what do you mean if? I'm going, like, if it works, are you ready for it? And sometimes there are other things. And that's why a lot of what we do, luckily, because we all have so much experience, a lot of what Rob and I do is business coaching along with the marketing side of stuff, where you are helping people with different sides of the business and different things like that. But I think as soon as people lose sight of people and start thinking, how do you dodge algorithms? How do you jippo this? Do you put comments? Do you put your links in the comments? Do you put your links in there? Do you use hashtags? Do you not use this? Do you not use that? It's like, that's not marketing. It's like, do you know who you want to get attention of and what makes them tick? And then just talk to them and start a conversation. It's not about spamming people and bombarding them and hard sell. South Africans particularly don't do hard sell. And this is a difficulty I find with so many South Africans that have bought these kind of American cookie cutter type programs for their marketing. They don't work here because, you know, you say, if you start hard selling to a South African, they're like, pick a finger, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'm not interested, go away.
Yeah, and we don't like fake. We really don't like fake. I know for
Yeah.
myself, I can immediately tell when someone has copied an American's sales website, because they always have that same, they have this is what we do, and then there's testimonials, and then this is what our benefits are, and testimonials, and every 5 minutes there's a buy now, buy now, buy now, buy now. And I'm like,
emotional blackmail.
yes.
It's like,
You're not making me want to buy.
Yeah, your business not ready for our system, or are you too small to need us, or all that kind of horrible stuff that plays on people's insecurities. It's not your job as a service provider in business. Your job is to make your client feel confident. So I won't do a part of a campaign unless the client actually understands, is empowered to do it themselves. That you don't lose anything by teaching people everything you know. Because you can teach them everything you know. It doesn't mean they know how to do it. It doesn't mean they can implement it or tailor it to what they need.
Or that they want to.
Yeah, or that they want to. And invariably what happens, you get people come on board and you teach them, and then they come back and know what, this actually works, now you do it.
You again, you've got the background in accounting, so you know what I'm going to say. I mean, what I mean when I say that bookkeeping is not hard.
Exactly, it's not.
Anyone can do their own bookkeeping. Anyone. The question is, do you want to? Do you want to spend that 9 hours a month capturing financial information? And 90% of people do not want to.
No.
That's why we exist. That's why I have a job. And it's the same thing with marketing. Yes, anyone can learn it. Anyone can do it, actually. And some people will love it. I mean, you ended up loving it enough to open a business.
Yeah.
I'd love to actually, I don't think we have time. I'd love to hear about your how you went from accounting to marketing, because they're quite different.
It's actually quite a short story, but yeah.
But yeah, you're always going to find someone who's willing to pay you to do it because they don't want to. So you definitely, I agree with you 100%. You lose nothing by sharing your knowledge.
You don't. And also empowering people builds trust, because and it's one thing I always remember, is that people won't remember what you say, they remember how you made them feel. And if you can make people feel empowered and confident and like really like you've got their back, and they can go ahead and do what you're going to do, and you've got this. And I think that's why we have a level of relationships we do with our clients. We don't advertise. Every single client we have is a referral. Every single client from day one is a referral. And bar ones that have outgrown or we've done project work with, we still have all our clients. So it's just, people don't leave. We're part of the business and we grow with them. And that's been, I think, what really creates those solid relationships. We genuinely care. It's like, if you're having sleepless nights, trust me, we're having sleepless nights. Until the problem is solved, we don't just take money and go. It's, I don't know, not in our nature to do that. And I think that's been an important part of the business. And also taking time to give for nothing and not expecting stuff in return. And people think that givers gainers are you go out and you seem to be giving things so that people will feel guilty enough to do something for you, and that really isn't the way it's worked. One of my biggest clients is because I was asked to volunteer doing the marketing on a charity event just for free, and we jumped on board and did that. We built such a good relationship that by the end of that one project, we had 4 new clients, big clients, all this work. And we didn't join the charity event for that. It's something we genuinely believe in and we wanted to go ahead and do. And that's become a very good long-term relationship. And it's actually gone into other businesses. It's really good. And one of my clients, we've even started a nonprofit together. So, those are the kind of things that are important. You want to really enjoy. And what my rule of thumb is, the day I sit down to a Zoom meeting and have that sick feeling like I used to in corporate, is the day you're working with the wrong person and you shouldn't be working with that person. Because I find once you hit 50, and you'll know that when you get there, it's like, Time's too short for this nonsense.
No, it's true. Hey, it's actually something, because I did a series on burnout last month in the Business Builder. I'm going to lose track of time.
Yes.
I think it was last month. And one of the things I teach is to cut what I call a toxic client. And it's
Yeah.
not, and when I say toxic, it doesn't mean that that person is toxic,
No.
but they're a toxic client. If you think of them, you fill with dread.
Mm.
That's not someone you should be spending your time on. And it's not necessarily because they're a horrible person. It's because you and them don't work well together.
Yeah.
You know, it could be a
Just doesn't
systems
gel.
problem or a communications problem or a personality problem. But if you fill with dread at the thought of meeting with a client, they shouldn't be in your life.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
another service provider out there who will do a better job for them than you will. And there's another client out there that you will want to deal with, and you won't feel that way when you have a meeting booked. And it's just not worth that feeling in building up a business.
You know, we've all worked hard, and anybody who's been in retail operations will tell you that that is a really hard, time-consuming job. I absolutely love retail. If there's one thing I'm totally obsessively passionate about is retail. It just is so much fun. It's like putting on a theatre production every day, getting to know the teams, being on the ground, and being in stores and with people, and the people that are executing all your marketing campaigns. That's awesome. But head office and politics and stuff, I'm just not designed for that. I don't keep my mouth shut. It gets me into trouble. So I've always very much been brought up to say what I'm thinking and say what I'm feeling. And it either endears you to people or they run a mile. But either way, you have your tribe around you, which I think is what's important.
No, it is important. I'm glad that you've built a good team of both internal and external, because by sounds of things, your clients are your team as well. I mean, you're one big.
Totally,
that's really important.
I think they do more marketing for us than we do.
I love the fact that as a marketing firm, all of your clients come from referral. I think that is funny.
It is in a way, but really, okay, the relationships and the results speak for themselves, but referrals are the strongest kinds of things, because the nice thing with referrals is invariably, if you get a referral, those people already share some sort of commonality or values. So you're not having to weed out the people that you don't want to work with. And for 2 years, Rob and I worked in the same office in our dining room up in Joburg, like across from each other. And he said he couldn't hear my meetings, nothing. He said within 2 minutes he could tell from the look on my face whether we were going to work with that person or not. It's just, you get that gut feel. And I think sometimes intuition, people think it's not a thing, but it really is a thing. You know when someone's not going to work out too well, and you want to be able to give like 150% to your clients and not being resentful to do so. Because if you need something, that's absolutely fine. What we did a lot during lockdown was help people, whatever we possibly could. If it was like setting up a Facebook page or showing people how to do that, or jumping on a Zoom call and teaching them how to do stuff, wherever possible, just to help people keep their heads above water. And I think in a way that made us so much more positive, because even though you were stuck and away from people, you still found a way of helping people, even though you were far away. And it builds really good friendships. Even if those people moved on or whatever, you still have them in your life, and they'll touch bases from time to time, which is really nice to know that it was done. And none of that was done for any reason other than it felt good to do it. You know, it wasn't done for marketing. The only reason I actually started putting our charity work and our pro bono work on my profile was my business coach who turned around and said, everybody else is talking about it and they're going to assume you're not doing anything. And I'm going, but I don't do stuff for recognition. And he says, you can do it in a way that inspires other people to follow suit, rather than look at me, you know, the person with a homeless person taking a selfie on the side of the road. It's not about that. He says, rather look at it from a point of view of encouraging other people to go, okay, no, I could actually help people. I could do that. Let me get involved. How can I do things? So I think from that perspective, that's been the hardest part for us, to actually take the pro bono work that we do behind the scenes and put it front and center, because it's really sat really uncomfortably with me, but it was a necessary thing to do.
No, and I agree. It's important to encourage other people to do the same. I think, you know, it is encouraging to see someone that you trust or you've connected with on social media for whatever reason, when you see them doing something that correlates with your own values, and it does encourage you to do the same. So I love that. I love the fact that you do it, and that you were brave enough to do it, because I understand what you mean when you feel like you don't want to shove that into the public
No,
eye, because
no.
so many people do in order to be looked at, and then you don't want to be seen as one of those people.
No. It's very hard. It's a very fine line between the two. But I think it does inspire people to get involved, and it does inspire people to think, hey, okay, you know what, I could help. The big thing I learned working at my last job was it was never about giving money to people. It was about getting involved in the community. And if we were in the community and there was a nursery school that needed help, we would go after the stores closed and tile the floor, or paint the building, or fix the roof, or build new furniture. But you get to know people, you're helping you're part of the community. So we always gave back of our own time. And that built much stronger relationships than just throwing money at a problem and standing there with a picture of a check. And it worked incredibly well. And you end up with far more loyal customers, because they say you've actually, anybody can write a check. And people think it's difficult to give money, but it's not. Giving time of your time, which is the most valuable thing you have, to my mind, it gives a much deeper connection with people, and you actually give of your time. And that could be something as simple as knowing that a client is going through a difficult time and having a coffee with them over Zoom, and just catch up, because you can, yeah, it's simple little things like that can make such a difference. And don't think that you reaching out is not going to make a difference, because you could be the only person that actually reaches out and does something. So it's important. Just try and inspire people to do the same thing.
I love that. I love that, Michelle. I know one of my clients is my longest standing client, actually. They have a little catchphrase on their logo that says, "Doing good is good business."
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah, and it's very true. And I don't know if you know the organization B1G1.
Yes.
Yeah, so Pharsyde is a B1G1 a business, because I loved that concept of I can weave physically helping people into everyday business. It's just such a good idea. So yeah,
totally. And just finding people that will work together, and finding solutions for your clients. And sometimes we do find solutions to their clients that are not our services. It's like, you two will work well together, and you don't need this, you need to go do that. And it works well. People trust you when you're honest.
Yeah, it's true. And you give them, and you build your own. Again, doing good is good business. If you were to lie and help someone that you shouldn't really be helping, you're not going to give the best service, and they're not going to get the result, and then they're not going to refer you, or they're not going to tell the next person how wonderful you are. But whereas if you're honest, they will be telling the next person, my gosh, this person, instead of asking for my money, gave me a solution. They actually helped me.
Yep.
That's much better for your business and your brand.
Absolutely, totally better. And everybody has a different way of doing things. So there's a hell of a lot of people who do marketing, but everybody has a different ways of doing things. Everybody has different strengths. Everybody has different businesses that we like to work with. So it doesn't matter whether you've got R1,000 budget or whether you've got R100,000 budget. You still need someone that's going to care enough to make you spend it wisely. And sometimes the bigger the budget, the more ethical you need to be, because it's too easy to do stuff.
Yeah,
people
that's
think
true.
it's difficult with small budgets, but you actually need to do the right thing. You can't muck about.
Very, very true. Very true. Speaking of small budget, I know you offer a really nice service to small businesses. So I want you to mention it, because this is Business Owner Challenges. Marketing is one of the challenges for most other businesses. I know you're doing quite fine by the sounds of things, just with referrals, but for most businesses, marketing is a challenge, or at least understanding what marketing is a challenge.
Absolutely.
And I know you have a solution for this, so please will you talk about it for a while?
Sure. So the way we've actually positioned the business is always, we can do it for you, we can do it with you, or we can teach you how to do it. And the thing we're the most passionate about is the doing it with you. So it's absolutely great to run marketing campaigns for clients. It's awesome, but it's much more fun to actually do things together as a team. And then teaching people how to do it. We do training courses. Absolutely, we train people and then they go. So what we found, and this is where my soapbox comes in, which sometimes gets me into trouble, is there are too many people out there that are trying to sell these cookie cutter approaches for ridiculous amounts of money. And it actually doesn't teach people anything. You know, pay 10,000 Rand and here's the solution to your business. It's going to do this, this, and this. And then you don't see behind the signs that you need to buy a LinkedIn Sales Navigator that's going to cost you 12.5 grand a year. And and people don't want to inbox and they're not comfortable doing this way of marketing and all things. So a lot of it came with, there were so many people that came into our space who had been ripped off or had lost their money. And you know, people start businesses often out of absolute necessity. It's not that they make a conscious decision to resign their job and start a business. It's often retrenchment. It's retired people who now don't have enough income. It's people who had one income or two incomes and now they actually can't manage and they need either not necessarily a side hustle, but they've had to start a business because they can't get a job or the market. And you know how lockdown did that. So many people were sent home. And to prey on people in that space of time where they spend the last lump of cash they have on this silver bullet was really, really starting to upset me that people were getting ripped off. So we sat down and kind of brainstormed, like, how could we actually help everybody and teach them and keep them up to date with all the latest without it costing them an arm and a leg, which they can't afford. So they can't afford to do it with us. They can't afford for us to do their marketing, but we didn't want them to get lost behind or thrown away. So we started a company called #Training, and it started with a closed Facebook membership group. And what we do in this is we give weekly marketing exercises to people. We give them recommended reading. We teach them all the latest tips and tricks, and it can be technical stuff. It can be how to use hashtags. We do 2 online group coaching sessions, and recently we have members from Canada, so we're now doing a Thursday evening and a Friday morning. So every second week, there's an online coaching session where we take a topic and either teach or go on there. And if there's specific training courses, we record them and we put them up within the group. So it's an evergreen group with evergreen content. It doesn't matter when you join the group. It's not a sequential learning space per se. Everything's sorted into topics. You can ask whatever questions you like. And one of us will, if we don't know, go find someone who does and put the right answers and information into the group. And we've kept this at the $25 mark. So it's under 400 Rand a month for people to join. There's 48 of us in the group at the moment. We have a huge amount of fun. Anybody who can't join the group coaching sessions, they're all recorded and posted up into the group. So you can go and look at all of that anytime. But it's really helped us take care of the little people and make sure that they don't panic or they hear rumors or they get caught up in phishing scams, or, you know, it's just, they're a little bit more wise. So I'm not saying that every program out there is garbage. I'm just saying they can make more informed decisions if they decide to invest 10 or 20,000 Rand in a specific thing. So what we try and do is find solutions for them where they can replicate automation, they can replicate marketing programs, all that kind of thing, using either free or affordable solutions and do things that way. So these are the different things you can do. Okay, I've seen about this, and then Rob will go on and say, okay, these are the ones that you can use or you can evaluate. We're teaching people how to use Canva properly, how to edit videos, how to use TikTok for your business. The fact that Pinterest is a visual search engine, it's not a social media platform. You know, all these kind of things that people just don't understand, and we teach them in a way that they can understand, totally demystify all these concepts. And some of the stuff we do is a little controversial. I don't do unethical things. People who use like hashtagging the war in Ukraine on the sales posts because they think it'll get more, yeah, that kind of stuff. So we teach people how to do things well and really empower them to do their own thing and find their creative side so that it's fun. And you know, all this kind of thing. And people get to ask a huge amount of stuff. On this last week, we did the benefits of growing your business through collaboration, all the pros and cons, and you know what works well and what doesn't work well. And it's not a question of us knowing everything or me knowing everything. I do a lot of research. I subscribe to a lot of newsletters. There are a lot of platforms out there that give really amazing, amazing information. It's a question of reading the information, finding the important part, I mean, explaining it to people in a way that they can understand, because a lot of their content is written for marketers and not necessarily for small business owners. But it's allowed us to take care. I mean, anybody that does a big guided coaching program when they start their brand with us has a lifetime membership to that. So they've done it, they've built their brand, they've built their marketing strategy, they put their business together, they're good to go, but they just keep up to date with all the latest. Because things like hashtags, every 6 months you have to redo that training because the best practices have changed. All the new things that come up on Facebook, you know, every time you go into Facebook, it's in a different place. And
Yes.
if I'm finding it difficult working on Facebook every single day, you can imagine someone that is not, you know, as okay with it. So that's been quite a passion project of ours. Our latest thing now that we're actually down here is getting a learner management system together for hashtag, where we can actually start adding value to people outside of working hours. And it's not to create per se a passive income, because there's no such thing as passive income. You still have to put the effort into creating the content. But it's just empowering people in a space where they know they can trust the content and being part of a group. And it's lots of fun. We have a huge amount of fun every time that we get together in person as well. So that has been an important part of the teaching you how to do it, and a way of helping people that couldn't afford your services, because you don't want those people to carry on floundering or struggling. They've reached out because they need help. But just because they can't afford for you to do it doesn't mean they can't learn how to do it themselves. And the nice thing is, if they come unstuck, they just ask the questions. So you can still give them the guidance, you can still help them, you can still tell them what to try. And it's created quite a nice environment, certainly for us. It's been a great passion project. It's good for my soul, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. It's very much what Business Builder is for me.
Exactly. It's
very
exactly
much the same thing.
It's your passion is into empowering other people. And yes, the marketing clients, that is what pays your bills. But at the end of the day, you know, if you can still make some money, cover your overheads, but give back to the people that need it the most, that's important. And if you think about it, small businesses are the biggest employers in South Africa in the latest stats, way more than any of the corporate established businesses. So the more you can empower small business owners, the more you're going to create employment. And with creation of employment, just allows more time for education and moving the country forward as a whole. It's not a question of just about helping someone with their business. So you have to see long term. I spent 4 years working very closely in the rural areas and the townships, and you understand what just lack of access has to people. And if you can literally help people to employ people, you can change lives. And all you've got to do is help one person.
So
you don't
important.
need to change the world. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I love that value, Michelle. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. In fact, thank you so much for being on my interview today. I really loved having you. This is such a good chat, and
it's
so
always
many
fun to chat, but we always run out of time.
But it was just so good. There was so much good stuff, and I think anyone watching will really have gotten a lot of value. And I would love to encourage people watching, if they need help with their marketing, to get hold of you, and at the very least join your hashtag training. So where will they find you?
The easiest way to actually find me is find me on LinkedIn. So it is Michelle Macfarlane on LinkedIn. If you want to pop it into your comments, you can. If they want to email me, they're absolutely welcome to. Michelle@hashtagtraining.com. That's probably the easiest to remember. And just pop an email, find out more information. On the Dragon Consulting side, we are all over the social media, but LinkedIn is my absolute favorite place to be, just like you. I really enjoy LinkedIn. So yeah, if you want to reach out, just have a chat, see what's good for you, where you are. As I say, we'll do it for you, do it with you, or teach you how to do it. It's entirely up to you. We've got a really good bunch of expertise across from the technical side to the more people-y side of stuff to strategy. Strategy is my passion, is that bigger picture. And that's why I have a really good team, because strategists are notoriously useless at execution. They can come up with all the ideas and put all the stuff together and get all the right resources together, but you really need to make sure that you've got a good team behind you to execute everything. And if I can give everybody one piece of advice with your marketing, it's like, be yourself and do it consistently. It's just keep showing up. It doesn't matter if showing up, you know, one day makeup's not done, hair's not done. I've got a client that loves to do walkabouts in the morning. I said to her, Janine, why didn't you do one this morning? She's, no, I didn't have my lipstick with me. And I'm going, you're walking on the beach at 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't do that. So this is the important thing, is literally just be yourself, because you attract the right people to you, and it's far more sustainable than building relationships with people that you actually don't want to work with. It might seem like a good idea at the time and the money might be great, but yeah, it's not fun, and marketing is fun. That's why I don't do accounting anymore.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'm going to put a couple of your links, definitely your LinkedIn contact and that below the video, so people can find you easily. Thank you again for joining me today. I really enjoyed the chat.
Thank you so much for the time. Awesome. Look forward to do some other stuff with Business Builder in the future.
Yes, definitely. We'll definitely have you. If anyone doesn't know, Michelle has been a trainer on Business Builder before. She's amazing, and we will definitely be having her back again. So if you would like to learn more about marketing through Business Builder, make sure you look for our marketing month, and Michelle will be there.
That'll be great. Thanks so much, Tamryn.
Thanks, Michelle.